Look, up in the sky. It's a bird.
It's a plane!
It's Superman!
Yeah, what is going on, everybody? It is yours truly, the Ace, and the moment you've been waiting for has finally arrived. Superman, the kickstart to James Gunn's DCU, hits theaters this weekend. Shout out to Amazon Prime, because I did get myself early access tickets. Soar into the comment section and let me know what you thought about this movie if you've seen it already. If not, let me know your excitement level. As far as me, I've been on the record saying that I think this will be the best Superman movie and he will go down as the best Superman. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now, this is a Superman movie for you. Wow. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not the biggest Superman fan, nor do I pretend to be. As when it comes to superheroes, he is very low on my list. When it comes to DCEU, there were movies that did it for me. I was actually a big fan of Man of Steel. But this right here is a beautiful beginning to the DCU. James Gunn absolutely knocks it out of the park with this movie. It checked a lot of boxes for me. And it's definitely, I'm going to say it. In my opinion, to me, the Ace over here at the Ace Avenue, this is the best Superman movie and he's the best Superman. Don't at me. From the second that he's on screen, my first thought, that's Superman. That's my Superman. The way he embodies the look, the charm, the personality, the mannerisms of Superman, like we haven't seen since Christopher Reeves. And it does feel different than other iterations of this character. It feels more grounded, more emotional. Feels like we get to see more of the humanity within Superman. Because this universe is already established, it's not your traditional origin movie, this character does feel more fleshed out without the character development. Superman's the big blue Boy Scout. Not to throw shade at the DCEU, but he's not some dark, gritty character. He's a symbol of hope, with values and morality, and that's on display in this movie. He's a character that, despite the vitriol from the public and the population, just wants to do what's right.
Acting as a representative of the United States.
I wasn't representing anybody except for me. Doing good.
Consider the consequences.
People were going to die.
I also loved how they added vulnerability to this character, not just physically, but emotionally, and it was a powerful performance by David Cornsweet. All right, let's talk about the supporting cast, starting with Nicholas Hoult, who does a phenomenal job as Lex Luthor. In this movie, that man was fantastically fiendish, who puts on a masterclass of hating.
His hair, whack. His gear, whack. His that he doesn't even like to smile, whack. Me, I'm tight as fuck.
I guess you could say he's just like the Snyder Stans, hating on this Superman. All jokes aside though, great performance by Nicholas Hoult. Just an evil individual that's just hell-bent on stopping Superman at all costs, just like out of the comic books, and it's on display here. Just how formidable he is throughout the course of this movie. When you're going to get somebody that likes the Superman, you have to be one step ahead. You have to be creative. He's using his intelligence. He's using his money, his power, his influence. At times, like it feels like, just like with Guardians of the Galaxy 3, James Gunn is making an antagonist that you just absolutely despise at the end of the day. He's not on the level of cruelty as the High Evolutionary, but it's a guy that you're actively rooting against as the movie goes on. You can't wait for Superman to defeat him. Rachel Brosnahan as Lois was great. Great chemistry with Clark. They complement each other very well because these two characters, their chemistry is already established, so you're able to do more things with them. I wish they would have given her a little more to do towards the end. I felt like she was sidelined a little more, but they absolutely worked together. She was a great Lois. Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner was great in this, hilarious. Him and James Gunn just worked so well together. Loved what we saw from the character. Loved the visual effects when it came to the Green Lanterns. My biggest take out of this is I want this to hopefully springboard a more serious Green Lantern so we can get that bad taste of the Ryan Reynolds movie out of our mouths, because Green Lantern is one of my favorite superheroes, so I want to see more of them on the big screen. Mr. Terrific, dare I say, was terrific, no pun intended. One of the best characters in this movie, definitely shines in this film. They gave him a ton to do, which is great, and he had one of the best visual James Gunn type scenes that you'll definitely enjoy. I just really enjoy when they do take these not so known characters and do give them the shine that they deserve. It's good to see the top tier characters like the Supermans, the Batmans, the Wonder Womans, but I like when these smaller characters get their due. Now let's go ahead and round out the performances with the Kents. Very small role, but very pivotal to the plot line and to the Superman character. How they're able to keep him grounded, and no pun intended, keep him down to earth was great.
What makes you who you are?
A very emotional, heartfelt scene that will pull on your heartstrings, and it's very pivotal to the Clark character, the Superman character as well. Glad they didn't use some big name actor as well, because, you know, Man of Steel was great, Kevin Costner was great, but I feel like it would have been distracting. You got to really marinate more in the moment because there weren't big name actors on screen, so it felt more. Almost forgot about Krypto. Can't forget about him. James Gunn does it again with these animal characters that really win you over. The energy, the enthusiasm that he adds to the Superman character is great. I feel like it was the perfect amount. A little bit more and it would have been too much. It would have taken away from the movie, but they did give him a lot to do with the action sequences as well. And like I said, it was the perfect amount of Krypto. James Gunn. This guy just knows how to do the damn thing when it comes to the comic book movies. I already had a ton of faith in him, equity built up from the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, and now this just solidifies him as probably one of the best live action comic book directors that we've ever seen. This movie is visually stunning, action-packed, very colorful, vibrant. It really does feel like a comic book brought to life, like those early 2000 movies where you just feel so immersed in this universe. And this movie really does hit the ground running. We are smack dab in the middle of this world that's already established that leans heavily into the comic book styles and sci-fi elements. He captured the essence of what it's like to read a comic book on the big screen. Tip of the cap to that man, James Gunn. Phenomenal job. Very creative fight sequences. Extremely over the top, but very creative. You feel on the big screen every single punch. When he's flying, you feel it. When he's up close and personal, fighting with people, you feel it. When he's saving people, you're caught in the moment. Jaw-dropping performances, jaw-dropping action sequences. And I'm gonna tell you this, I think it's probably some of the best action sequences that we've seen in a superhero movie. Because it's not just... What got me is, it's not just the fighting of the threat, but it's also saving people at the same time, which embodies what Superman is. And it absolutely captured that essence, like I said, of a comic book from an action standpoint, and I loved it. Plot-wise, I thought this movie was solid. Nothing super over the top, nothing groundbreaking, not trying to reinvent the wheel, nothing that we haven't seen before, but it's not also trying to be that as well. Not your traditional origin movie. Just like with Spider-Man Homecoming, they expect you to know this character, so therefore they're able to do different things, and they don't necessarily have to flesh it out. We know the Superman origin. We don't need to see it on screen 1,000 times like we've seen Uncle Ben die, or like we've seen the Waynes die. Just go ahead and put a smack dab in the middle of the action, and let's get it going. And this movie absolutely does it. When it comes to the plot, is it political? Absolutely. But it's also a very personal Superman story that absolutely worked for me. It definitely feels like a Justice League Unlimited Superman animated series brought to the big screen and had me feeling like I was a young kid on Saturday morning cartoons all over again, and I loved it. So there's nothing I didn't enjoy about this movie. A couple of things I'm on the fence about. One was kind of what we talked about when we had the Super Jurassic live stream. If you haven't done so, make sure you check that out, where I had a couple of guests on. We were talking about Jurassic Park, Superman, and Fantastic Four. One of the things that we were concerned about was actually a point brought up by Zach Milne Talks Movies. Great channel over there. Make sure you guys go subscribe to him. This movie's full of James Gunnisms. It really is. And by that, I mean, James Gunn has a specific style, no doubt. If you've seen the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, if you've seen Peacemaker, if you've seen the Suicide Squad, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There are ways where it could absolutely work. where you got the one-shot action sequences and the music's blaring. You see that in here, and it really captures you and puts you in the moment. But on the flip side of that, you have the quirky humor, the campiness, in the moments where it calls for it to be very emotional. Like, there is no in between. There are times I just want to marinate in the moment, right? If something dramatic's happening, I'm okay. If there's an emotional, heartfelt scene, I want to be in that moment. It does feel like at times where James Gunn will give you that moment, but then he's kind of itching where he's like, I gotta put a joke in here. This scene may be emotional, but now's a good time to crack this joke. No, there are moments where you can be funny, but then I just want to live in the moments where I can feel some emotion because it adds to the character, adds to the plot, and adds to the storytelling. But yeah, the James Gunnisms are all throughout this movie. Also, because this wasn't a traditional origin movie, there was not a lot of Clark Kent in this film. Like, it felt like even at times where he's in the role of Clark Kent, that he's just Superman dressed as Clark Kent. Like, and that's the downside to not having your traditional origin, because you could have fleshed out the Clark character a little more. Very reminiscent of like the Batman, where, you know, it was mostly about Batman, but it wasn't a lot of Bruce Wayne. It really feels like this, but it didn't take me out of it. Also, I feel like this movie could have benefited from another 20-30 minutes. 2 hours and 9-minute runtime, but it is very stuffed because of how fast paced it is. They are trying to put a lot in a small time frame. 20 or 30 more minutes could have allowed it to breathe a little bit more, and it wouldn't have felt like they were kind of rushing towards the end. And lastly, and this is just personal, because she's one of my celebrity crushes, Isabella Merced. Barely in this movie. They really sidelined her character, no doubt. Hawk Girl, good character. Had a moment in this movie, but it really felt like she was just there in the background. And, you know, coming off of what she's doing in The Last of Us and what she did in Madam Web as well, it just, even though that's nothing to really write home about, it just felt like, I think I expected more. And maybe because she's a celebrity crush, maybe I wanted to see more of her, but they really did feel like they didn't know what to do with her character. Like, let's just add her to the team, and we're gonna have her in the background, maybe crack a joke or two, and give her one moment, and that's it. Kind of wasted talent on, kind of wasted potential in multiple ways. But overall, this is a Superman movie true to form. David Cornsweet is Superman. James Gunn knocks it out of the park yet again. The cast was amazing. Great action sequences. Great visual. I can't wait to watch this movie again. Like I said, and don't at me again, this is the best Superman movie that I've ever seen. No lie. It checked every single box that I was looking for. Like I said, true to form, felt like a comic book right on the big screen. Absolutely amazing, incredible. And after watching this movie, I yet again have hope for DC. And isn't that what Superman is after all? Hope. Appreciate you guys for watching. Hit that like and subscribe for your sports, movies, and more. As always, thank you for tuning into the Ace Avenue. I am yours truly, the Ace. Adios.